So making predictions with scatter plot. So scatter plot is a graph that looks like this. You get data that's not in a straight line, so to speak. It's kind of like a collection of dots, and there's a correlation. It's related, but it's not like what we've seen before. Before we've seen like linear type things where you see data that makes straight lines. This is not going to make a straight line. However, we are going to create a situation where we draw a straight line to kind of fit this. And so we'll kind of get into that in just a second. This is the handout you got. It's not one of my notes handouts, but it's one that I have that's pretty good. It gets all the information we really need for this. And I want to have a video that kind of goes over this stuff and then is there for you to be able to review if you want to go back and check this out. Okay, so making predictions from scatter plots. Let's zero in on this section real quick. We're going to start with trend lines. I told you a scatter plot just kind of has a collection of dots, and we're going to have to create a trend line, sometimes called a line of best fit in algebra, but we're going to call it a trend line. And let's fill in some of these blanks with the basics for a trend line. Let me zoom in a little bit. So what is a trend line? How can I use it to make predictions? All right, we'll fill this in real quick. So a trend line is a line that best describes or fits the data in a scatter plot. So best describes or fits the data in a scatter plot. Trend lines can be used to make predictions. There's that key word right over there, and that's what we're going to do here in a minute or two is look at this data and make some predictions based on what we see, and we're going to need trend lines, okay? Lastly, to draw a trend line, which we'll need to do, draw a line in the middle of all of the points that is going the same direction as your data. You should have about the same amount of points above the line as you do below the line. So basically, we're going to draw a line in our data that's right in the middle that basically splits it in half, so to speak. That's the way we're going to look at it. So make sure you have this down. I'll get those circles out of the way. Make sure you have that. And let's put this to the test. Let's try it real quick. So let's practice some trend lines real quick. Before we do, real quick, a couple things about scatter plots. Any scatter plot that's basically where the dots are starting, you always read from left to right. So you always read a graph from left to right. If the dots are going up, and we know this from our linear equations, kind of like this, that is a positive association on your scatter plot, okay? However, if you're reading again from left to right, and your dots are going down, your data is decreasing, you have a negative association, all right? So you want to make sure you have that, positive and negative associations. The third example is a positive association again. Our data is increasing from left to right. Let's make sure that we understand that. All right, let's practice some trend lines real quick. Oh, I didn't do that. Let's practice the trend lines before we go to predictions. Okay, trend lines, make sure, real quick, grab your pencil. Make sure you're good. I'm going to use like the dark, I'll go with green on this first one. Trend lines basically should come up and cut the data in half and more or less intersect the data. And we want the same number of dots or scatter plot points above and below. So this isn't bad. I drew a mostly straight line. I've got 4 dots above, 5 below. That would work. That'll help us make some predictions. On the negative one, similar here. And this is also a lot easier when on a lot of the programs we use or apps, there are line drawing tools that can really help do this. And so right now I don't have one on the program I'm using, but more or less I'm making it work. So a negative trend line like this would be pretty good and can help us get data right over here. And then one more off to the right. Trend lines do not always have to go through origin. You'll notice sometimes they do go through origin, but they don't always have to. I draw this one here. Would have been better to hit all those dots. I could try one more time, but you got a fair number of dots that I could hit there, and it kind of splits that in half. And let's see why that's necessary, okay? So let's put some trend lines here. Let's make some predictions, right? The first question you have has got this. It says the graph shows the average number of hours a group of 13 middle schoolers watches Netflix and sleeps. Let's trend line this real quick. It's got a negative association happening here, all right? So I'm going to go with a trend line, and I'm going to go like right through. It looks like the data kind of cuts right through there, maybe right after that 8, more or less like that, all right? Draw your trend line pretty similar to that. And let's answer these questions. We're going to use that line to get our information. Let's answer A real quick. What's the best prediction of the number of hours a middle schooler would sleep if they watched 2 hours of Netflix? Okay, pay attention. For your X is here and your Y is here. Hours of Netflix is here. So if they watch 2 hours of Netflix, 2 is right here. Boom, I'm going to just draw it and hit the trend line. About how much sleep would they get? Well, look, when I hit the trend line right there, I come down, they're going to get about 7 hours of sleep. So we're going to use that trend line to get our answer on the first one, okay? Let's try the next one. I'm going to switch to dark blue. B, what is the best prediction, there's that word again, prediction, of the number of hours a middle school student probably would watch Netflix if they sleep for 8 hours. So now they're sleeping more, right? They're sleeping 8 hours. So let's see. Well, this thing only goes up. I didn't draw a great trend line, but it probably only goes about halfway up right here. Eek, I could do better. Yeah, that's better. It probably only goes about halfway up and then meets right there. Well, halfway up, they're only going to probably watch 0.5 hours of Netflix real quick, maybe 30 minutes. Make sure you're paying attention to how your X and your Y are set up. That's really important when you go into your problem solving. Let's try a couple more. All right. Sorry, that one doubled up. Question 2. The graph shows the number of guests and the cost of catering for 14 weddings. Okay, cool. So let's check this out real quick. Let's draw our trend line. All right, I'm going to go with my trend line. This one, let's see. I'm going to go with green. It's kind of got a positive slope here. I've positive slope, positive trend here. Let's take it here. Let's cut there and go, I don't know, around there. How's that look? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the bottom. Well, I'll go a little higher maybe. Yee, I could do better. I know I could. There it is. Let's go with this trend line. Kind of like that. Okay. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's a pretty good trend line. I like that one. Okay, cool. Let's answer question A. What is the best prediction for the catering cost for a 100-person wedding? Remember, our X is here. Our Y is here. Read your labels. Number of guests is at the bottom, and then the cost is over here at the Y, all right? Guest X, cost Y. So 100 people, guess 100. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 100 would be like right there, and I got to see where we hit. Well, it hits right there. I don't know, between 800 and 900, about-ish, around-ish there. A lot of times with this data, we're just kind of getting the best answer, probably a little over 900 by the time that hits. I'm going to say 925, but if you said 900, you probably wouldn't be off here. So we could say 900 guests, if I can write it in on this screen. There we go. Cool. Let's answer B. What is the best prediction again for the number of guests at a wedding that costs $200? So now let's go to the cost side. The cost is at $200. I'm just going to drag this out right over there. And I'm going to say, hey, this hits at right. Basically, I'd be safe to say 20 guests. It might be just before that. It might be between 15 and 20. But I'm going to write down 20 guests. My line at best, or 20, 20 guests. You know what I did on the last part? I messed this part up. This should have said $925. I bet y'all caught that. And this should be 20 guests. So yeah, make sure you read your X and Y correctly. Good. Line of best fit. That's the way to do this. All right. 2 more. Let's try multiple choice. Multiple choice, always helpful because when we're doing the prediction part, you can kind of see what's closest. All right. On this one, the graph below shows the number of items purchased and the total cost that 13 people spent at a farmer's market. Let's pick our line. This is a positive association. And let's connect this thing like here. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I started to angle up a little bit. Hopefully you guys are having a little bit more luck. You know what's great also is a ruler. When you're doing this on paper, a ruler really helps with a line of best fit. So we'll use those two when we're working on paper. All right. So that's not bad. That looks pretty good. Or I said line of best fit or the trend line. Sorry. Based on the data shown, I'm answering the question real quick. Which of the following is the best? There's our favorite word, prediction, for the total cost if they purchase 7 items at the farmer's market. All right, cool. 7 items. Items purchased is down here, okay? So I'm going to go to 7. Well, 7 would be like right, let's go purple. 7 would be like right here. It's going to hit, what? It hits just above 35, right? It's between 35 and 40. I forgot to always do that and then come this direction. That'll help you right there. I could do a slightly straighter line, but you get it. You get it. Best answer between 35 and 40 is certainly going to be this one, C, 37. You see what I mean with multiple choice, how it kind of helps, all right? Very last example, it's multiple choice also. We're going to talk about Jimmy's basketball skills here. The graph below shows the number of baskets Jimmy made when he was a certain amount of feet from the basket. So, you know, obviously, when he's close up, Jimmy's money. When he moves away, we'll see. Based on the data, well, actually, let's do our line. Let's do our line real quick and let's make sure we're good. This is kind of a tricky line. Let's see. I feel like we can go red, and I feel like our line, I'm going to go like this. And come just kind of like that. It's a tiny bit squiggly, but I think it works. I should have caught this one though. Let me catch this one. Boom. No. There it is. Got it. 8th time's a charm. There it is. Okay. Let's go with that. Let's go something like that. All right. That pretty much divides it in half. You guys probably doing a better line of fit than I am, or a trend line than I am. But this looks good. Last question, let's answer it. Based on the data shown, which of the following is the best, there's your word, prediction for the distance Jimmy was from the hoop if he made 3 baskets, all right? So pay attention to this. Distance is here. Number of baskets is here. Well, if he made 3 baskets, I'm going to come up to 3 right here. I'm actually going to switch colors and I'm going to go purple. And let's drag this out. So 3 baskets connects kind of like right there. I'm getting like right between. If I go down, look at that. Right between, more or less, 12 and 14. Well, look at your answer choices. Best answer is going to be D. It's going to be right there. It's sitting there. So multiple choice makes it nicer. But at any rate, making predictions. The best thing here, we want our line of best fit or our trend line. I keep saying line of best fit because that's kind of our algebra term. But trend line, same thing. That's what we want. Get a good trend line in, and then I think the more you can draw the lines and use your tools, the more accurate you'll be able to make these predictions. So that was well done. Thank you for watching. Remember, trend line and making predictions with scatter plots.